All right, the bunker shot. A lot of people dread this. Tour pros love it. Why? Because we know how to execute. We've been taught the proper setup, the proper fundamentals, and we recognize as tour players that you can't treat the bunker swing and the bunker setup the same as your full swing. When you hit your full swing, you're hitting ball first and then the ground. Whereas in the bunker, we're basically hitting sand and the ball is getting in the way. So in order to make this shot successful, we need to have proper setup. We are gonna have our ball forward, but our stance is gonna be pretty wide and we're gonna be hunkered down a little bit so that we can lower our center of gravity. This helps us not only to be able to maintain posture, but to hit down behind the ball and adequately use the bounce on the club so that we can deliver more loft and we can get the ball high, spinning, and sit soft. So our ball is forward. We're not gonna have shaft lean forward, we're gonna have shaft lean straight up and down or just slightly backward. We're gonna dig our feet into the sand. This does a few different things. Digging your feet into the sand, number one, tells you how much sand you're gonna need to take out of the sand in order to get this ball out. Number two, it tells you the kind of texture of the sand. So if it's really soft and it's taking me a lot of energy to really dig, but I'm going really down deep, I know that I need a lot of energy with the club to get it out of there. If it's really firm and compact and I can't really dig my feet in, I actually know I have to hit this more like a regular chip shot because I know that the club is going to bounce really hard off the surface. I'm not gonna really get the sweepy action into the sand. It's just gonna more bounce off the sand like if you're hitting off of grass more so. So we're digging in our feet, we're getting the texture of the sand. Our stance, our feet, our hips, our shoulders, everything is gonna be open. And this is gonna allow the club to easily pass on through. And it's much like our lob shot from here where we're doing more wrist hinging than we are body turning. But we're definitely on the way back. The key is that we continue to open the face. So we have our open stance. And if I have sand on the club head right there, I'm gonna go ahead and dump that sand behind me. That promotes opening of the club face on the way back. And then I'm gonna let that club head fall. It's less body turn, so the club head gets out in front of my body, and that opens the face even more. So dump the sand, let the club head go first, and that promotes putting more loft and using more bounce. My weight distribution is also on my left, or towards the target, my lead foot. And it's gonna be about, I like to put a little bit more on my bunker shot, so I'd say 70% on my left. And then I'm just gonna feel like my club is doing a lot of the work. My wrists are hinging a lot. It's less of a body motion, so. And this path for the shot is still gonna be in to out, maybe a little bit more neutral. But people who tend to hit the cut swing, going, this way, are people who tend to be handle draggers. They tend to come in like this on the way down and they go, oh no, I have to fix it. Let me quickly turn out of the way. And sometimes they even chicken wing it. They come down and they're like, oh no, I'm coming too steep and I lost all loft. And so they do this real quick. And that's not great. There are also a lot of people that show up to lessons and they're only doing this. Or they do this too early and then they go and they dig. Their action is actually correct. The timing of the action is just not great, the sequencing. So when we're in the bunkers and a lot of short game shots, instead our full swing, our lower body starts it, our torso starts it, our hands follow, the club follows. It's the complete opposite, actually, with the short game and especially bunker shots. So backswing, club head leads, arms follow, upper body follows, lower body follows. This allows us to put the loft on it. So sequencing in the bunker is a huge reason why people are successful or unsuccessful in bunkers. So just to show you this angle of a good bunker shot, and I'll just try to get it just out of the bunker here. So open setup, Shaft is just straight up and down, shoulders are level, face is open, shaft straight up and down. I'm gonna dump the sand, throw the club head. And I almost put too much loft on that, but that was the shot. So a couple of different drills that I have people do. Number one is, if they're inconsistent in terms of contact in the bunker, whether they hit it thin or they hit it fat, I'll have them work on just making half-half swings and just drawing a line in the sand and sweeping away the line. So, and you can kind of tell by the divot if it's too deep. Their hands are probably out in front of the club head, and if it's really shallow, they either stood up out of their posture or the sequencing of their swing is off. So I tell them, make that nice little open backswing, brush the sand. And that one was a little too far behind. So sometimes even ball position may have to be adjusted on a day-to-day basis. I like it forward, but sometimes people just for some reason are getting there. So sometimes if it has to be in the middle of your stance to make it work when you go play, make it work. Do what you gotta do to get it out of the bunker. There we go. The other drill that I like to do, especially for people who are handle draggers, and this is one in particular that I struggle with, is the windmill. You're not gonna see tour players using a whole lot of just straight arms, no wrists, straight back and straight through on a bunker shot. Although a lot of amateurs love to try to do it that way, thinking, oh, I learned the chip shot, the bunker shot's just gotta be the same. No. So the windmill drill is looking a little bit like this. So they make the open backswing and then it looks funky, it looks like Arnold Palmer swing, but there's a reason for it. When you have the intention of doing all this with the club, look what you're using. You're using your wrists. You're not even using your body to really do this. So you make the backswing, you're basically unhinging the club, throwing it, casting it, whatever term you'd like to use. And then you can even hit shots doing this. And you'll see that that's promoting using the bounce more, getting more loft behind the ball, getting the ball up in the air with a lot more spin and hitting a lot more shots. You're going to be a lot happier with your bunker shots. And yeah, again, number one objective, get it out of the bunker. Good setup fundamentals and good swing, good arc, everything put together, you're going to be just fine.